Hello everyone, good afternoon. Is it audible? How are you all doing today? Good? Bad? It's overloaded of sessions, right? It's too much, isn't it? We'll keep it light. Okay, so a quick introduction about me. How many of you are attending any event or one such conference for the first time? Some people do not even have the energy to raise hands because I think the dessert was too much, right? More than the food. I found the dessert was really exhaustive or overloading of information. Okay, so this is Bhuvaneshwari Subramani here. I'm an AWS hero and AWS ambassador from India. In fact, I've been associated with this wonderful AWS community since the year 2017. If AWS have awards and recognitions, be it an AWS Hero of the Year, or you name it, anything, fortunately, I was the blessed one to receive everything, and the highest of all to receive one from Dr. Werner Vogels as GoBuild awardee. And this is my second time being part of AWS Community Day Mumbai. I'm really excited to share something different, not about how to develop with AI, agentic AI, IDE related tools. I'm just going to talk about how we can increase the developer productivity, not just about coding. Beyond coding, there are a whole lot of things, right? Isn't it? How many of you think that you're keeping your time productive at work? Okay, how many hours do you spend in coding? That's going to be the question. So before I move in, there is a whole list of things which I don't want to waste our time in talking about what we have done, all of that. I enjoy speaking, sharing knowledge, and most importantly, I've been a blogger since 2009. That's where I started blogging and going out for events. Probably I have written 500 plus blogs, maybe less numbers, not with ChatGPT. Nothing of these things existed when I started writing and all, right? That's how we enjoyed. I've been a speaker at many forums, and one important thing definitely I would love to see is I've been a speaker at reInvent. Like, I think this is the 6th year I'm going to be a speaker at reInvent, joining hands with Vivek Raja, INR together. We are going to talk about anti-money laundering orchestration with AWS Trans. If you can't make it in person, sign up. You can watch it online and let me know your feedback. That is one thing. So there's yet another thing I'm excited about for reInvent. For the first of its kind, Amazon have announced an important and interesting contest. If you wonder what it is, the day before reInvent on 30th November, there is an interesting contest from Los Angeles to Las Vegas on a 5-hour road trip. We're going to have a hackathon with 50 selected techies across the world, and it's going to be on 5 different buses, and each team will have 5 numbers, and the winning team is going to take away 1 lakh USD. So that's going to be the contest. Fortunately, myself, Vivek here, say hello Vivek. Vivek, Jones, if you're attending Jones session, and INR, all of us going to participate in that. And this is going to be live streamed. You can watch us code on the bus, on the move. If I doze off, knock me in, okay? Thank you. So with that, we'll get started. So what are we going to discuss today is, what is the problems that developers face generally, and what are the hindrance to the developer's productivity? What is the factor of developer productivity? How do you define what is developer productivity, right? So with all these IDEs in place, how we can increase that? That's what we are going to see. Okay, I wanted to introduce decoding. Always, when you want to express and talk about something big, we always use this big O notation, right? So I wanted to talk about using this big O notation for developer productivity. Before that, okay, I've revealed it anyways. The survey and research says that the developers generally spend a very productive time in coding is less than 1 hour. If you are really hardcore developer, don't get offended by this, okay? This is not told by Bhuwana. This was the survey done by software.com with like 450 or 480 plus developers. And with that, they have decided this is the time actually they get to spend on coding. Where does the rest of the time go? What do developers do rest of the time? Meetings? How many meetings do you have in a day? 3? Only 3? And how many of you have meetings of meetings? During the COVID time, I was a director of software development then. I had a mandate that every director or leader had a mandate that it's our responsibility to ensure that team members' mental well-being is our responsibility, right? Another meeting, one-on-one with team member every week, right? So meeting has been really a nightmare. That was an overkill. And what is the optimal coding time? How much time do you spend? Forget about this 1 hour. One hour. So I have friends who are agreeing with the survey. So I am not cooking up something here. So where should I focus on to improve this productivity? Where is my developer spending time? If you look into this, where all the developer is spending time, you will be able to relate it, right? Architectural design, coding, debugging, support. You're a developer, but still you'll be dragged into all kinds of production issues, right? Whenever something goes wrong in production, all your feature development will be halted. Not just one person will be pulled into it, all the 10 people in the team will be pulled into it and you have to break your head into it. If you are somebody who's responsible for support team and a manager, so don't blame me, I am in favor of developers only today, okay? I have been always. So whatever the highlighted in the light purple color, that's where the developer actually need to focus more time, but we are being dragged into everywhere else, right? That's the plight, that's the reality. And so, pre-AI era, the survey says that developers spend less than an hour in coding. What happened with this agentic IDE, with AI era, all of that? And the another survey, which was taken in February 2025, it says that the developer, the spending time on this coding has actually slightly increased from 60 minutes, which is 1 hour, to 68 minutes. And where is that remaining 412 minutes is going? That is my matter of concern here. I'm going to focus on that. Okay, what should I do more? I should be focusing, or I means my developers and I should be focusing more on coding, learning new tools. It's absolutely fine. Reviewing the code and architectural design, right? And what you should optimize in doing. Rather, what you shouldn't be doing, I wouldn't say that don't attend any meetings from today onwards. Go back to office and say, yesterday Bhuvana told to improve the developer productivity, ask me to skip the meetings, right? Just strike out and cancel all the meetings, it's all done. That is not the intention. The idea is to how to improve the productivity, right? So, ingrain the security from first stage of development. Minimize all your support tasks or automate, optimize them, and integrate all the compliance in it, right? With all this, you will be able to be more productive. And when we say the order of developer productivity has certain inhibitors, what are the things that is preventing us to be more productive is technical depths. There are organizations who has not upgraded their Java or .NET from like good old version for last 10-15 years, isn't it? That's a huge technical debt. And there is a context switching. We'll talk more about the context switching. Requirements are not clear from the day one, and it keeps refining endlessly, overloaded meetings and the tooling frictions. Which tool to use? If you see, and if you're part of an organization where there is a mergers and acquisitions, tools from here, tools from there, everything gets overloaded and it's on your head. And another 2 years will go on standardizing the tool, which one to use. And debating which one to use is another thing, not factored here. But this is how it endlessly goes on, right? So how do we make the best use of the remaining 7 hours? That is our focus when we are talking about developer productivity. I have some trivia questions post lunch. So I'm going to ask you, in an operation theater, when a surgeon performs an operation on the patient lying on the table, which methodology do they follow? Or what would you suggest them to follow, agile or waterfall? Imagine you are the patient on the table. Now you answer, if you have the guts to answer it. Which one do you prefer, agile or waterfall? Huh? Hybrid. I have no guarantee on your life, man. So, agile. So some people say agile and some people say hybrid. One important thing, if you have observed in the operation theatre, touch wood, if you have not entered, I am absolutely fine with it. I have gone in and out 4 times, so I know better. So they don't talk. The collaboration is that most important thing. They'll tell you to signal. One fine thing, when I was on OT table, for me, I'm too sensitive to pain. When the first dose of anesthesia was given, I could still feel some senses, something is being worked upon my abdomen, and then I raised my hand. This was the signal given. If you feel uneasiness, if you feel vomiting, this hand, or if you feel uneasiness, this, for patient itself, they have instructed this. Imagine the collaboration between the doctors and nurses, right? So much of collaboration, that's a very, very important thing. You don't have to have agile or waterfall within the OT, but we follow during the software development. For them, it's all pure collaboration, right? That was working really well. And this is a well-written piece of code, but what went wrong with this? What is the issue? Can you figure out? No? With the interest of time, I'm going to reveal it. There is a quality issue. There was some try-catch missing. Exception handling is not there in this, right? For not having one exception handling, there was a news. It's a very famous one. I don't want to call it out which airline and which magazine. The whole airline was stranded and thousands of dollars has gone, and several thousands passengers were also stranded. Sorry, I was talking about hospital and patient that comes over. So passengers were also stranded, right? One exception when it was missed has impacted so much. So quality matters, collaboration is important, next quality matters. And imagine a simple vehicle that has an accelerator but no speedometer. What is that? What is the vehicle which has an accelerator but no speedometer? Every question need not have an answer, man. There is no such vehicle, okay? So basically, the velocity matters. You need to have a speedometer because you wanted to monitor. Only the bicycle do not have a speedometer because you have to manually push. It's in your control, right? So the rest of the things, you need to have a meter to observe and monitor the velocity. That is very, very important. And the other one, the next last question, which is your preferred operating system? Unix, Mac, Ubuntu. See, Ubuntu, Unix, Android. Okay. Coming to laptops, Ubuntu, Unix. Okay, everybody are nodding head. But when you wanted to buy a laptop for your family member, for your child, for your wife, which operating system do you go? Predominantly? Windows. Why? You're a big fan of Windows and Unix, right? Here the experience and convenience matters more than what you are really passionate about, right? So these are the 4 important factors. So when we are talking about productivity, to our knowledge, it's about the work accomplished in a period of time. If you think far and beyond that, the order of developer productivity depends on the 4 factors that we spoke. Complete collaboration there, the quality, utmost quality has to be delivered with a speed. That's where we spoke about the velocity, and complete customer satisfaction, right? Are you able to relate it well where we are coming? So all these 4 things plays a vital role in increasing the developer productivity. And how would you do that? And before that, so each of the phases in the development have certain quality metrics that we have to measure to ensure that we are achieving what we are supposed to do. When we are in the requirement phase, at least the team who are providing the requirements, if they are giving 90% of the requirement upfront, you can develop well. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. And as part of the design, your requirements should be completely mapped. So similarly, during the development phase, testing, in the early cycle of development, if the 80% of the defects are caught, you will have a peaceful life in production, right? Your support team will also be in peace. And when we are doing the deployment, the least deployment failures we have, your DevOps is quite stable. So these are the metrics that we use to assess the quality of your development, deployment, the entire end-to-end workflow. And now coming back to the evolution of IDEs, how many of you started with text editors? I do not know. During my college days, the only luxury that I had was a notepad text editor. To have a notepad was like a luxury. From 1996 when I started, when I got access to computer. Visual Studio itself came in 97. So we had access to Visual Studio 2 years later. That's how it evolved, or I also evolved with all the software. But now we have so many IDEs, right? Agentic AI related IDEs itself is plenty. So with this evolution of IDEs, it has helped us to improve from 1 hour of coding, the better time, to 68 minutes. Keeping that one side, how many tools a developer use? How does the day of a developer look like? So what tools you use for requirements? Where your tasks are coming from, Atlassian, Jira, or any other tools that you use? Most of you use Jira? Okay. For your documentation, SharePoint, Confluence, which one you use? Confluence. Okay. And for communication channel, Teams, Chime, Slack. Some Teams and some Slack, right? So when you're starting to work on the development, do you log into your Jira and look for the tickets assigned to you? Do you do? And then pick up the ticket, go to Confluence or SharePoint, pick up the requirements. Do you do that? And then after you're done with the changes, you have to go and update it in Jira. You have to update the document in Confluence, and you have to also notify in Slack. At some point, we have an automation when we update Jira, it automatically notifies Slack, right? But most of the time, we end up doing all of these things. So 5, 6 different tools, switching the context, and GitHub. So how many of you, when you started learning Git, how much time it took for you to understand the command which would you use for merging the conflict, resolving the conflict? Right? Upward merge, downward merge, a whole lot of confusion that arrives, right? Now you go and tell in an agentic IDE, do this, it just does it with an English language, one line of it, few words, that's it. So here you have diverse set of tools. Communication with the tool is always one-on-one, a lot of context switching. That's the plight of the developer, right? So with all this plight, and we are able to spend 68 minutes in coding, how would you make best use of the remaining 412 minutes? I'm still talking about the problem statement. Let me get into the solution. Half of the time is over. Let's make the best use of coding assistant to make the best use of the 412 minutes remaining in a day. Okay, so before that, let's talk about the usage patterns. So we talk about 3 different things, right? One is AI managed development, where you just give the problem statement, AI takes care of everything and does it. After the application or the feature is developed, the person who gave the requirement itself will go mad saying that, oh, did I really ask this and was this built, right? That's how AI managed. If you give it to the hands of AI, it will drive you crazy. And if it is AI assisted, every time, hey, can you give me the piece of code for this? Can you give me the answer for this? So it's AI assisted, back and forth, lot of conversation. Now we are into an AI driven era where AI takes the business ambition and it is converting into the requirements and converting that requirements into a design and have a plan of task with a goal, and it's going to implement for us. So that's how today the evolution is working with an AI driven. So now there are 3 catalysts in all these tools and these IDEs, 3 main catalysts we can focus on to improve developer productivity. The one is Model Context Protocol, MCP. The rules are steering. I'm going to talk about what is that with a demo, and the hooks. Okay. So when we say Model Context Protocol, it is a platform for your agents to collaborate. We will see how we will make use of that Model Context Protocol to achieve what we want to do. So the first thing is, when you bring in the different contexts, when we have 5, 6 tools, we wanted to enhance the collaboration between the tools and the developer. That is one important thing. So the communication across the tools should be managed better. You log into an IDE. Imagine that your Jira is authenticated there, your Slack, your GitHub, everything is connected to that. You have an MCP server integrated with an IDE. How many of you used Kiro, AWS Kiro? Anybody have used? Okay, I see some Visual Studio with Amazon QCLI. Okay, so with all these tools, you can actually integrate the MCP server. You can connect your Git, your Jira, Confluence, Slack, all of this integrated into this IDE. All that you're going to say is talk in English, and it will be able to do the authentication, collaboration, all of that. And you can attach the organization standards. This is the coding standard, this is SQL standard. You can attach it, that will be followed there, right? And you can bring in guardrails to improve the quality. And one important thing, in your organization, if there are 10 developers who joined as an interns and continue to work over the years, all 10 developers are of not same caliber, they don't provide or give the same output, right? But with this AI driven, if you have something called prompt library, which is actually defined by one smart developer, if you give the same smart, prompt library and organizational standard and context with all other 10 developers, if not to the 100%, at least 80 to 85% you will be able to match with the standard of that top developer, right? That level of improvement that you can do. That is one important thing. So to do a quick recap, having a proper prompt library, you're reimagining the SDLC process with integrating different tools as an MCP tools with a server, and then enforcing the organizational standards, ensuring quality at every step, you will be able to achieve the quality that is required. Okay, so the flow is going to be realigned here. The left side you see in the tool, the MCP server has all these IDs integrated in this, and at every stage you're going to retrieve the task from Jira, go to Confluence, get the task details, and you're going to plan and build. After you plan and build, you generate the code and then initiate the commit. When you initiate the commit, it gets automatically committed to your GitHub, and then it will trigger the quality checks. It's all in the same IDE. You're not switching the context between 5-6 different IDEs. While switch the context to the next IDE, you will actually get diverted. Maybe you wanted to go a tea break, or you wanted to make a phone call. All that context switching also will happen when you're trying to switch the context between the tools, right? You can avoid all of that. So this is the entire flow that you will be able to implement when you want to do it. And I'm going to show you a quick demo with Amazon Kiro. Let me play that for you. So in this demo, this is the agentic IDE. I don't know whether you're able to see it from there to some extent. If you've been a backbencher and not able to see, sorry, I am not a problem. Okay, so what I am doing as part of this demo is, I have a Jira instance, a Jira cloud, which I have set up personally to evaluate, integrated that Jira instance with my Kiro as an MCP connection. After that, I'm going to ask, hey, list the Jira projects. If I'm going to say that, it's going to connect to the Jira. It's going to pull all the Jira projects, and it is listing the 4 different projects. It is still connecting. So when it lists the 4 different projects, I'm going to pick up one project called JC integration. So it has listed 4 projects. Out of that, picking one JC integration, I'm saying, hey, go ahead and list all the tasks under the JC integration. Now, I am able to connect to the Jira server within the context only by giving English commands, and then I'm able to list the projects. I'm able to list the projects, tasks under the projects. All of that is done. And the next one, I want to create the task again in English language. Create a task under the project JC integration with this details and specification. So this again is going to create the task. So that's a small demo I have done. That means you don't have to switch context or go out of your favorite IDE to do any of these activities. It can be done automatically on your behalf in your IDE, right? So that is the one. I have a well-written blog on this. If you can't see the demo here, I'm going to share the blog after this in a LinkedIn post, or I'll share it with Sanchit. You'll be able to get that. Okay. And the next one more demo which I wanted to show you is how you can establish automation to respond to an event. So when you wanted to, in a Kiro IDE, spec, hook and steering are three very important things. Spec is spec driven development. We are not digging detail into that now. Hooks and steering is what we are going to talk. In hooks, what happens is, when you save a file, you can trigger an event to happen. For example, in this, I am creating a hook call. Whenever a Python file is saved, the function name in that Python file should be prefixed with a superhero name. For example, I am creating a program, utility program for an insertion sort, bubble sort, all of that, right? So utility.py is getting generated. When it generates a Python program for functions insertion and bubble sort, it would create a function name bubble sort, right? Automatically any IDE would create like that. So I am giving a hook saying that whenever that file gets saved, convert that file name, prefixing it with a superhero character. For example, bubble sort can be prefixed with Aquaman bubble sort, right? That is the requirement I am giving in English language. It is actually translating that into a hook, superhero naming convention as a hook name, and on file save for .py files, I want you to save that prefixing with the superhero name. So this is how it will get saved, okay? So that is so interesting. When you are able to create the file, you will be able to save that. That is the good part of hooks. So you see that every function in Python begins with a superhero name that best explains the function capability. So I have given that, it has created the hook for me, I didn't do anything. On file save star.py, this has to be executed. So when the utility.py is getting created, it creates the function name as bubble sort. Later, see if you see here quickly, it will say merge sort, bubble sort, all that is being renamed, and it will give you in the chatbot saying that this file is being renamed couple of times to rename each and every function. So that's how your hook works. This is similar to your post commit hooks that you wanted to create in any of your IDEs. So this is very, very helpful. That's how hook works. And the next demo that I wanted to show you is, okay, I think I removed the other, I didn't finish the demo.
We are trying to say the video is stuck.
Technical issue are meant to happen. It is running here, but it is not running there. I still had 3 more minutes, but somehow they tampered it. That's okay. Still you will see the demo, I am not connected, okay, cable is in my hand. That's fine. Let them do their text fixing, I will wind up the session. So all of this I wanted to say is, in order to increase the order of developer productivity, 4 main important things. One is the collaboration, the other one quality, velocity and satisfaction, right? These are the 4 important things, and when we wanted to achieve these things, this agentic IDE can be used better that way, that the developers have to ensure that you don't have too much of context switching, have all your other tools integrated into your favorite IDE itself, have your organizational standards added there, and have the prompt library defined by your super duper developer, and have it so that it is being used by everybody else. So with all these best practices, you will be able to increase and improve your developer productivity. So when you say what does the future looks like for us when we are increasing all this, right? Anyone should be able to code, and we'll be able to use the AI powered IDE to our advantage, and with a seamless collaboration, like how the doctors operate with only signals, right? With seamless collaboration, we will be able to achieve and make best use of the remaining 412 minutes to get 8-hour time in coding, okay? It's not about discounting your meetings and stuff. It's all how we can effectively utilize the underutilized 7 hours. That is very important thing. That's what I wanted to say. I also wanted to share the, this is not my slide, okay? I wanted to share the blog that I have, a detailed blog with the videos on the demos that I've created. Usually my session, I prefer to create a blog before I interact with the audience, so that soon after the session, if I share the blog, if they go and look into it, you will have some of the slide information, demos, or any code available in the GitHub you'll be able to access for you to reproduce. So if you have any questions on this session, feel free to connect with me later after the session, and also ping me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for having me here. I don't think she'll allow me to take any questions. We can discuss definitely offline. Thank you so much.